Elena's shoes clicked against the cracked sidewalk of a bustling city street, the late afternoon sun of June 1st, 2025 casting long shadows across the concrete jungle. Horns blared, a siren wailed in the distance, and the chatter of pedestrians blended with the ping of her phone. Another work email, another social media alert, another headline screaming division. She adjusted her earbuds, drowning it all in a podcast about productivity, but her mind wouldn't quiet. 3 years ago, a single moment had lodged in her heart like a splinter. Her colleague Mark's sharp words in a meeting. "Elena, your ideas half-baked stick to the basics." The room had laughed, and she'd shrunk the sting of humiliation burning deep. She hadn't spoken to him beyond curt nods since. Now at 32, a marketing manager in a high-pressure firm, stress was her shadow deadlines, client demands, and this unspoken grudge weighing her down. Her shoulders ached. Her sleep was fitful, and her connection to family and friends felt like a fraying thread. Yet amid the noise, a whisper tugged at her, a longing for peace, a flicker of something bigger. She ducked into a small coffee shop, the aroma of roasted beans, a brief reprieve. Settling at a corner table, she pulled out her laptop, but her eyes drifted to a man outside, gray-haired and weary, feeding pigeons from a bench. He looked content, unhurried, a stark contrast to her racing pulse. Her phone buzzed again, her mom texting, "Elena, call me miss you." Guilt pricked her. She'd dodged family dinners too drained to face questions about her life. She sipped her coffee bitter and hot and wondered, how did I get here? Disconnected, angry, lost in a world that never slows down. The answer began to form, not in her mind, but in her heart, as if planted there. She'd grown up Catholic Sunday Mass, a ritual of childhood, but it had faded in her 20s, too busy, too skeptical. Yet fragments of faith lingered, Jesus's words, a priest's homily, a recent quote from Pope Francis she'd scrolled past online. "Forgiveness is the most visible sign of the Father's mercy," he'd said in 2016 for the World Day of Peace. She frowned, stirring her coffee. Mercy. For Mark, who'd humiliated her. For herself, who couldn't let it go. The idea felt foreign, yet it stirred something, curiosity, maybe hope. Elena's thoughts drifted to Christ's teaching in Matthew 18:21-22. She could almost hear her old Sunday school teacher's voice. Peter asking, "Lord, how often must I forgive my brother if he wrongs me? As many as 7 times. And Jesus' reply, "Not 7 times, but 77 times. As a kid, she'd giggled at the number, but now in this crowded cafe it hit differently. 77 times wasn't about counting. It was about refusing to stop, about choosing love over resentment, even when it hurt. Pope Francis had built on this, she recalled in his 2020 encyclical, Fratelli Tutti, calling forgiveness a bridge to heal a throwaway culture that discards people as easily as trash. But how Mark's words still echoed a wound unhealed, and the chaos of 2025 political rifts, online wars, her own stress made it feel impossible. She pulled out her notebook, a habit from college, and jotted, "Why can't I let this go?" The pen shook slightly. A 2023 study she'd read in a wellness newsletter stuck with her. 60% of adults felt stress from conflict from coworkers to strangers. She saw it everywhere, drivers cursing Twitter feuds, her own silence with Mark. Pope Francis's voice seemed to whisper through her memory from a 2014 homily. Silence is the space where God speaks. She closed her eyes. the cafe's hum fading, and tried it 5 seconds 10, a deep breath. Her chest loosened just a fraction. What if silence wasn't empty, but full of clarity of God? The man outside stood scattering crumbs, and Elena watched him shuffle away, a faint smile on his face. She wondered about his story. Had he carried grudges too? Lost someone? Christ's example flashed in her mind, vivid as a movie on the cross, bleeding, betrayed yet, saying, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Luke 23:34. If he could forgive, that what was her excuse? Pope Francis, in a 2020 audience, had said, "Prayer turns resentment into compassion." She scribbled, "Try praying for Mark, not for him to change, but for me." It felt awkward, but she whispered under her breath, "God help me. Help him too." A warmth flickered, small but real. Elena's phone lit up another email, a client complaint. Stress flared, but she paused, picturing Mark as he'd been years ago, new at the firm, nervous, maybe lashing out from his own pressure. Fratelli Tutti urged seeing others as siblings, not foes. What if Mark wasn't the villain she'd cast him as? She wrote Step 1, understand him. Step 2, let go somehow. Practicality kicked in. She could start small. No grand confrontation, just a gesture. An email, maybe. "Hey, Mark, got a sec to chat about the project?" Her pulse raced at the thought. But Pope Francis's words from Amoris Laetitia 2016 nudged her. Understanding. Others softens the heart. Days passed, and Elena tested this. She carved out 5 minutes each morning. No phone, just silence. At first her mind raced deadlines, grudges, but slowly it settled. She prayed, clumsy at first. "God, I'm mad. Help me forgive." She journaled, spilling the hurt Mark's words, her shame, how it fed her stress. A therapist friend had once said, "Writing cuts tension." Science backed it, a 20% drop in stress over weeks. One evening she typed that email to Mark, hands trembling, and hit send. "Hey, got a sec to chat about the project. Appreciate your input." No apology demanded, just a step. He replied, "Sure, tomorrow." Her stomach flipped, fear but also relief. The next day they met in the office break room, coffee cups in hand. Mark was quieter than she'd expected, tired lines around his eyes. "Rough week," he muttered, and Elena nodded, seeing him anew, not a foe, but a person flawed like her. They talked work, not the past, but the air felt lighter. She didn't force the words. "I forgive you," Pope Francis had said in 2018's Gaudete et Exultate, that community helps us heal, so she leaned on a coworker, later venting, then laughing. The grudge didn't vanish, but its grip loosened. Weeks unfolded, and Elena's experiment grew. She called her mom, finally sitting on her couch one night. "I've been distant," she admitted, voice cracking. Her mom's reply was gentle. "I just miss you, honey." Tears came, and Elena felt a shift, forgiving herself too. Christ's Our Father. Prayer echoed. "Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive." She prayed it nightly, now, each line a balm. Pope Francis's 2023 address rang true. Forgiveness is oxygen for the soul. Without it, we suffocate. Her sleep improved, her shoulders relaxed, and a smile crept back. One Sunday, Elena found herself at a church, a small brick building she'd passed 100 times. The priest spoke of the prodigal son, Luke 15:11-32, the father running to his wayward child, no questions, just love. Elena pictured God like that, rushing to her flaws and all. Pope Francis's 2021 plea, "Build bridges, not walls," hummed in her mind. She lit a candle after Mass, a silent vow, keep going. She'd texted a friend mending a neglected bond and volunteered at a local shelter inspired by Laudato Si' 2015, where Francis tied mercy to healing the world. By late June, Elena's life wasn't perfect. Stress lingered, work piled up, but something glowed within. Mark waved at her in the hall one day, a genuine grin. She waved back, heart lighter. Forgiveness wasn't a moment, but a journey 77 times endless. A story from a news article stuck with her. A man, Jamal, forgave his brother's killer, finding peace after years of rage. It rippled his family, healed his community, softened. Elena saw it in herself, a kind word to a cashier, patience in traffic, a call to her dad. Christ's love, Pope Francis's mercy, they were threads weaving her back to life. She stood one evening on her balcony, city lights twinkling below the noise, a distant hum. Her notebook lay open. I'm not there yet, but I'm moving. Faith and action together. The grudge with Mark, the distance from family they were mending slowly. Pope Francis's words from 2016 rang. Forgiveness breaks the cycle of revenge. Elena breathed deep, the air cool, her soul less burdened. She wasn't fixed, but she was healing herself, her ties, her world. The whisper of hope grew louder, a call to keep walking, to trust, to love. And so her story, your story, continues, a tapestry of mercy unfolding stitch by stitch toward a broken world made whole. Elena stood on her balcony, the city's heartbeat pulsing below car horns, distant laughter, the faint wail of a siren at 2:59 p.m. on Sunday, June 1st, 2025. The summer breeze carried the scent of exhaust and blooming jasmine from a neighbor's pot, a strange blend of chaos and calm. Her notebook rested in her hands, pages worn from weeks of scribbling thoughts on Mark, her softening grudge, her tentative steps toward family. The candle she'd lit at church that morning still flickered in her mind, a symbol of her vow to keep going. Forgiveness, she'd learned, wasn't a finish line, but a road winding and uneven. Christ's call to forgive. 77 times. Matthew 18:22, echoed paired with Pope Francis's gentle nudge from Fratelli Tutti 2020. We are all brothers and sisters. Elena felt it now, a spark of connection, a hunger to mend more than just her own heart. She leaned against the railing, eyes tracing the skyline. The shelter where she'd volunteered last week lingered in her thoughts. There she'd met Lila, a quiet woman in her 50s, hands rough from years on the streets, eyes heavy with a story untold. They'd sorted canned goods side by side, and Lila's shy thank you when Elena handed her a water bottle had stuck with her. Pope Francis's words from Laudato Si' 2015 surfaced. Mercy heals not just people, but creation, our shared home. Elena wondered if her small acts, volunteering, waving to Mark, calling her mom, could ripple outward, touching lives like Lila's, easing the world's fractures. Back inside, she sank onto her couch, laptop open. Work loomed, a campaign deadline tomorrow, but her chest felt lighter than it had in years. She'd been practicing silence 5 minutes each morning, a habit inspired by Pope Francis's 2014 homily, "Silence is the space where God speaks." In those quiet moments, she'd felt a presence, gentle, steady, guiding her past the noise of stress. She pulled out her phone, scrolling to a photo of her and her dad taken years ago at a park, both grinning, ice cream dripping. They'd barely spoken lately. Her avoidance stemmed from a fight 2 summers back, his gruff, "You're too busy for us." Elena cutting deep. She'd fired back defensive, and the silence grew. Now, Christ's plea from the cross. "Father, forgive them." Luke 23:34 tugged at her. Could she bridge that gap? She typed a text. "Dad, dinner soon? I'd love to catch up." Her thumb hovered, then pressed send. Her heart raced, but a line from Pope Francis's 2020 audience warmed her. Prayer turns resentment into compassion. She whispered, "God help me mend this." Help him too. The reply came fast. Tuesday, 6 p.m. My place. Elena smiled, a knot loosening. She jotted in her notebook. Step 3. Show up. Listen. Love. Monday dawned, frantic emails flooded in, a client nitpicking her campaign draft. Stress clawed, but Elena paused, breathing deep, picturing Lila's grateful nod at the shelter. Pope Francis's Gaudete et Exultate 2018 had said, "Community lifts us." She called her friend Sarah a co-worker with a knack for calm. "You've got this," Sarah said over coffee at lunch. "You're different lately, lighter." Elena laughed, admitting, "I'm trying. Forgiving Mark myself, it's changing me." Sarah nodded, sharing her own story. Forgiving a sister after a decade of silence, a weight lifted. The APA's stat flashed forgiveness cuts anxiety by 15%. Elena felt it. Her pulse steadied. Her focus sharpened. At the office, Mark stopped by her desk, a rare move. "Good call on the campaign tweak," he said, eyes tired but kind. No mention of their past clash, but his tone felt like a truce. Elena's old instinct to bristle, to guard, faded. She saw him anew, a man under pressure like her. "Thanks, Mark." "Team effort," she replied, meaning it. Pope Francis's 2016 World Day of Peace message rang. Forgiveness breaks the cycle of revenge. She didn't need his apology. She needed her own peace. That night she journaled, hurts still there, but it's quieter. I'm freer. Tuesday evening. Elena drove to her dad's house, a modest brick home in the suburbs. Her stomach churned memories of their fight, her sharp, "I'm doing my best," clashing with his frustration. She parked, clutching a grocery bag. His favorite lasagna ingredients, a peace offering. He opened the door. Gray hair, tousled apron on. "Come in, kiddo," he said, voice gruff but warm. They cooked side by side, chopping garlic, layering noodles, the silence awkward at first. Then he spoke. "I missed this, Elena. I'm sorry I pushed you." Her throat tightened. Christ's prodigal son story. Luke 15:11-32 flashed the father running, embracing, no grudges. "I'm sorry too, Dad." "I pulled away," she said. They hugged, messy and real lasagna bubbling in the oven. Over dinner, he shared work. Stress, a health scare, worries he'd burdened her. Elena listened, really listened, seeing him as Pope Francis urged, a brother, not a foe. She told him about Mark, the shelter, her quiet mornings. "Sounds like Faith's back," he said, eyes soft. She nodded, quoting the Our Father in her mind. "Forgive us as we forgive." Later she wrote, "Dad's not perfect. Neither am I. But we're here." The next week, Elena returned to the shelter, Lila there again sorting clothes this time. They chatted small stuff weather, then deeper. Lila whispered, "Lost my daughter to a fight years ago. Haven't spoken since." Elena's heart ached. She saw her own story mirrored. "I'm learning to forgive," she said, tentative. "Maybe start small. A call." Lila's eyes glistened a nod. Pope Francis's 2021 plea, "Build bridges, not walls," pulsed in Elena. She handed Lila a coffee, a tiny act, but it felt big mercy rippling healing two souls. Work pressed on stress, a constant hum. A client yelled over a delayed ad, and Elena's old self, tense, defensive, stirred. But she breathed, prayed, pictured Christ's mercy on the cross. She replied calmly, "We'll fix it, I promise." The client softened, and Elena marveled. Forgiveness wasn't just for big wounds, but daily frictions. Pope Francis's 2023 words echoed, "Forgiveness is oxygen for the soul." She felt it breathe through her, easing the day's weight. One night, scrolling news, Elena read of a man, Carlos, in a small town forgiving a neighbor who'd vandalized his shop during a riot. He rebuilt, invited the man to help, and now they worked together. The story spread calming tensions. Elena saw it, her wave to Mark, her dinner with Dad, her chat with Lila, small seeds growing. Laudato Si tied it together. Mercy for people, for earth mends the fractures. She volunteered more planting trees at a community event, hands in dirt, heart full. By mid-July, Elena's rhythm shifted. Mornings began with silence, prayer clumsy, still, but steady. "God guide me," she'd whisper. And answers came, a call to her brother long distant, a kind word to a stressed cashier. Mark joined her for a brainstorm, laughing over ideas, the past a faint echo. She journaled, 77 times means never stop. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying." Science backed her well-being up. Stress down, a 2023 study's proof. Faith fueled her Christ's love. Pope Francis's mercy, a light in the dark. One Sunday, Elena walked to church, the brick building welcoming. The priest spoke of Matthew 5:44. "Love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you." Pope Francis, in a 2020 homily, had unpacked it. Love transforms even the hardest hearts. Elena thought of Lila, her dad, Mark, even herself. She lit another candle, vowing to stretch further. Outside, a kid dropped his ice cream, tears welling. Elena knelt, offering her own cone. His smile lit her up. She texted Sarah, "Dinner soon." My treat. A bridge, not a wall. Nights on her balcony became ritual city lights, a canvas. Her notebook filled. Forgiveness is messy, slow, but it's life. Stress still loomed, work, news, chaos, but she leaned on community faith. A call from her mom, a laugh with her brother, a nod from Lila at the shelter connections grew. Pope Francis's 2016 wisdom held. Forgiveness opens the door to reconciliation. Elena felt it. Her heart, her ties, her world healing stitch by stitch. She wasn't whole yet, but the road stretched on, lit by mercy, paved by action, a journey of hope unfolding. Elena leaned against the balcony railing, the city humming below at 3:06 p.m. on Sunday, June 1st, 2025. A warm breeze tugging at her hair. The sun dipped lower, painting the skyline in hues of gold and orange, while the distant rumble of traffic mixed with a street vendor's call. Her notebook lay open on the small metal table, pages fluttering filled with scribbles of her journey. Mark's softening presence, dinner with her dad. Lila's quiet gratitude at the shelter. Forgiveness, she'd found, was a thread weaving through her days, fragile yet strong, pulling her toward peace. Christ's words, not 7 times, but 77 times. Matthew 18-22, pulsed in her mind, a rhythm matched by Pope Francis's gentle echo from a 2020 audience. Prayer turns resentment into compassion. She felt it growing, a shift, a lightness, yet the world's weight lingered, stress from work, headlines of conflict, a nagging sense of disconnection still tugging at her edges. She sipped water cool against the July heat and thought of the church that morning. The priest's words on Matthew 5:44. Love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you, had struck deep. Pope Francis, in a 2020 homily, called love a transformer, a force to mend even the hardest hearts. Elena's thoughts drifted to her brother Nico, 2 years younger, once her shadow, now a stranger. A fight. 3 years back, her snapping. You're reckless. Nico. Grow up after he'd quit a job. His retort. You're not my boss. Elle had built a wall. Texts went unanswered. Visits rare. Could she love through that? She jotted Nico. Pray. Reach out. Work beckoned a looming presentation for a big client, stress coiling tight. Elena slipped inside laptop, glowing emails piling up. Her old self would have spiraled, tense, short-tempered, but she paused, breathing slow. 5 minutes of silence, her anchor. Pope Francis's 2014 wisdom. Silence is the space where God speaks, steadied her. In that quiet, she whispered, God guide me with Nico, with work. A calm settled, faint but real. She typed notes for the pitch, then texted Nico. Hey, been missing you. Coffee soon. No reply yet, but the act felt brave, a step toward mercy. The next day, the office buzzed, phones ringing, keyboards clacking. Mark dropped by, a stack of charts in hand. Ready for the pitch. Elena. You've got this. His grin, once a trigger, now warmed her. She nodded. Thanks, we're a team. Forgiveness had shifted them not to best friends, but to allies. Pope Francis's 2016 plea for the World Day of Peace rang. Forgiveness breaks the cycle of revenge. She felt it, her heart freer, her focus sharper. The presentation went well, the client nodding, a rare win. Stress eased, and Elena marveled, small acts of mercy, patience. A kind word tamed the chaos. Later she met Sarah at a diner, neon lights, buzzing, burgers sizzling. Sarah laughed. You're glowing, Elle. What's the secret? Elena shrugged, trying to forgive, to connect. Nico's next. Sarah shared more her sister once estranged now called weekly, a bond rebuilt. "It's slow," she said, "but worth it." Elena nodded, the APA's stat in mind. Forgiveness boosts well-being, cuts anxiety. She felt it sipping her soda, the weight of years lifting. Pope Francis's Gaudete et Exultate, 2018, hummed Community Heals. She wrote lean on Sarah Keep Going. Wednesday. Elena returned to the shelter, the air thick with dust and hope. Lila was there folding blankets, her hands steadier. "Called my daughter?" Lila said, voice low. She answered. We talked short, but good. Elena's chest swelled, eyes stinging. "That's amazing, Lila," she said, handing her a bottle of water. Pope Francis's 2021 call. Build bridges, not walls. Lived here. Two women broken pasts, mending together. They sorted clothes, chatting about small joys. Lila's love of sunflowers. Elena's dad's lasagna. Mercy rippled, touching them both, a quiet healing. Back home, Nico texted coffee. Friday, 3 p.m. Usual spot. Elena's breath caught. Hope nerves. She replied, "Yes, see you." Her notebook filled step 4. Show up for Nico. Listen. No judgment. Christ's prodigal son. Luke 15:11-32 flashed the Father running arms wide. No conditions. She prayed God soften me for him. Pope Francis's Fratelli Tutti, 2020, urged seeing all as siblings. Nico, reckless or not, was hers. She pictured him tall, tousled hair, a grin hiding hurts, and vowed to try. Friday came, and Elena arrived at the cafe, a cozy spot with worn tables and coffee's rich scent. Nico sat by the window scrolling his phone, looking older, wearier. She slid in. "Hey, Nico." He looked up, a half smile. "Hey, Elle." Silence hung awkward, but she breathed, recalling the Our Father. "Forgive us as we forgive." They ordered black coffee for him, latte for her, and started small jobs weather. Then Nico said I messed up back then, quitting yelling. "Sorry." Elena swallowed. "I'm sorry too, pushed you too hard." Their eyes met, raw, real. He shared job hops, a breakup, feeling lost. She listened, heart opening, seeing his struggle, not just her hurt. They laughed finally over old memories, racing bikes, sneaking cookies. Pope Francis's 2023 words. Forgiveness is oxygen for the soul breathed through her. Nico wasn't fixed, nor was she, but the wall crumbled. "Let's do this again," he said, and she nodded. Deal. She wrote later, "Nico's back not perfect, but here. Love works." Christ's call to love enemies felt closer. Nico no enemy, but a test of grace. Weeks rolled on July, warming the city. Work pressed a new campaign, tight deadlines, but Elena leaned on her tools. Silence, each morning, prayer nightly. "God carry me," she'd whisper, and strength came. She called her mom, joined a family picnic. Laughter replacing silence. At the shelter, Lila showed her a photo, her daughter smiling, a reunion planned. Elena hugged her tears shared. Pope Francis's Laudato Si, 2015, Tided all mercy for people for earth. She planted more trees, hands dirty soul full a community event buzzing with hope. One night, a news story gripped her. A woman, Aisha, forgave a driver who'd hit her son a crash that left him in rehab. She visited the driver, prayed together, and now they advocated for road safety. The town rallied. Healing spread. Elena saw her own ripples. Nico's grin. Lila's hope. Mark's teamwork. Christ's love. Your enemies stretched her. She prayed for that client who'd yelled wishing peace. Stress flared a late night, a budget cut. But she journaled hurts real, but I'm bigger with faith. Sunday. Elena walked to church. The brick walls, familiar, comforting. The priest spoke of John 13:34. Love one another as I have loved you. Pope Francis, in a 2016 homily, said love demands action, kindness, patience, sacrifice. Elena lit a candle, vowing to stretch a note to a rude neighbor. Need anything? A tip doubled for a tired waiter. She texted Nico. Proud of you, and he replied, You too, sis. Bridges built, walls fell. Stress lingered, work news of wars. A friend's fight, but Elena leaned on faith. Mornings in silence, she felt God near. Nights, the Our Father soothed. Pope Francis's 2020 wisdom. Prayer turns resentment into compassion guided her. She called Sarah, laughed with her dad, helped Lila plan her reunion. A stranger dropped a bag. Elena picked it up, smiling. Ripples grew her heart, her ties, the world shifting. Late July on her balcony, city lights twinkled, noise a soft hum. Her notebook brimmed love's hard messy. But it's life. Forgiveness wasn't done, Nico. Mark herself all works in progress. Pope Francis's 2016 voice rang. Forgiveness opens the door to reconciliation. Elena breathed deep, stress lighter, connection stronger. She wasn't whole, but the path glowed mercy, action, faith weaving a tapestry, healing her healing all step by steady step. Elena stood in the church's soft glow, the scent of wax and aged wood wrapping around her at 3:07 p.m. on Sunday, June 1st, 2025. The brick walls of the small sanctuary hummed with quiet life parishioners shuffling out a child's laugh, the priest's voice lingering in her mind from the homily, John 13:34. Love one another as I have loved you. Pope Francis, in a 2016 reflection, had unpacked it. Love isn't a feeling, but action, a daily choice of kindness, patience, sacrifice. Her candle flickered on the altar, a vow to stretch further its light dancing in her eyes as she stepped into the July heat. The city buzzed, cars honking, a vendor shouting, the air thick with summer and possibility. Her notebook, tucked in her bag, brimmed with steps Mark mended. Dad closer, Nico's coffee chats a lifeline. Forgiveness, she saw, was a current flowing through her, pushing her beyond herself. She walked home, sneakers scuffing the sidewalk, mind turning. Love as action felt big, too big, amid 2025's chaos. News of riots, a co-worker's snippy email, her own stress from a campaign teetering on a razor's edge. Yet Christ's love on the cross, selfless and steady, paired with Pope Francis's Fratelli Tutti, 2020 call to treat all as siblings urged her on. She thought of her neighbor, Mrs. Klein, a gruff widow who'd snapped "Keep your music down" last month. Elena had bristled, avoided her since. Now she wondered, what hurt hid behind those words? She jotted in her mind, then later, Step 5. Love Mrs. Klein. Small reel. At home, Elena sank onto her couch laptop, opened the campaign's charts glaring. Deadlines loomed, stress gnawing, but she breathed 5 minutes of silence, her shield. Pope Francis's 2014 wisdom. Silence is the space where God speaks, steadied her. God show me the way, she prayed, and calm trickled in. She typed a note. Mrs. Klein, sorry about the noise. Need anything? Groceries a chat. Slipped it under her door, heart pounding. A tiny act, but Christ's command echoed love without limit. Pope Francis's 2023 plea. Forgiveness is oxygen for the soul, fueled her. She'd breathe freer, loving through tension. Monday. The office thrummed, phones chatter, a printer's whine. Mark leaned in. Elena, client, loved the pitch. Nice work. She grinned, their old wound a faint scar. Team win, Mark. Forgiveness had carved space for trust. A co-worker. Jen snapped later. Your delay messed my schedule. Stress flared. Elena's pulse raced, but she paused, picturing Jen overworked, a new mom. Christ's Father, forgive them. Luke 23:34 whispered. Pope Francis's Amoris Laetitia, 2016 nudged. Understand. Don't curse. I'm sorry, Jen. Let's fix it, Elena said, voice soft. Jen blinked, nodded, tension easing. A ripple, small but alive. That evening, the shelter called her back, hands dusty from boxes, Lila at her side. My daughter's coming tomorrow, Lila said, eyes bright, a sunflower pin on her shirt. Elena hugged her heart full. You're brave, Lila. They stacked cans, talking dreams. Lila's hope to garden, Elena's to reconnect. Pope Francis's Laudato Si, 2015 linked it, mercy for each other, for earth heals both. Elena joined a cleanup crew, later picking trash by a river, sweat on her brow, kids and neighbors laughing beside her. Love in action, mending the world. Tuesday. A knock startled her. Mrs. Klein, gray hair pulled back, held Elena's note. Got your message. Could use milk if you're going out. Her tone was gruff, but her eyes softened. Elena smiled. On it. At the store, she grabbed milk-added cookies, a whim of kindness. Back. Mrs. Klein took them, muttering, Thanks. Sorry I barked. Elena saw her lonely, maybe scared. No worries. Here if you need me. A bridge, not a wall, as Pope Francis urged in 2021. She wrote Mrs. Klein's human. Love starts here. Midweek. Nico texted Sis, rough day. Talk, Elena met him at the cafe, coffee steaming, his face drawn. Lost a job again, he admitted, voice low. Old frustration stirred her urge to fix him, but she leaned on Christ's prodigal son. Luke 15:11-32. The Father's open arms. I'm here, Nico. You'll bounce back, she said, listening as he spilled doubt, fear, a flicker of hope. Pope Francis's Gaudete et Exsultat, 2018 rang Community Lifts Us. They lingered, laughing over childhood pranks, bond tightening. Thanks, Elle, he said. She nodded, heart light, jotting later. Love listens. Nico's enough. Work piled up, a client's call. Where's the revision? Stress bit. But. Elena breathed, prayed. God steady me. She called Sarah, venting, then laughing over fries. You're a rock, Sarah said, sharing her own win for giving a rude boss peace gained. The APA's note echoed, forgiveness cuts, stress boosts, joy. Elena felt it, her shoulders looser. She emailed the client calm, clear, and they replied, looks good. Pope Francis's 2016 wisdom. Forgiveness opens the door to reconciliation lived in her daily grind. Sunday. Elena returned to church, the priest citing 1 John 4:20. If anyone says, I love God, and hates his brother, he is a liar. Pope Francis, in a 2017 homily, pressed this love God by loving others, even the tough ones. Elena thought of Jen. Mrs. Klein, the world's mess hate in headlines, anger online. Her candle burned a vow to act. After she helped a teen Sam carry bags from the church pantry, his shy thanks a spark. She texted her mom, love you, dinner soon. A reply, always honey, bridges everywhere. One night news gripped her. A teacher, Maya, forgave a student who'd trashed her classroom in rage, then mentored him. He graduated now, taught others. The town shifted less anger, more hope. Elena saw her own chain, Mrs. Klein's cookies, Nico's trust, Lila's reunion. Fratelli Tutti called all siblings. Elena prayed for a rude driver she'd cursed, wishing peace. Stress hit a late shift, a budget snag, but she journaled love's work. I'm growing. The Our Father soothed. Forgive us as we forgive. July deepened, heat rising. Elena's mornings held silence prayer. God, use me. Answers came a smile to a tired barista, a call to her dad laughing over lasagna. At the shelter, Lila beamed. She's here tomorrow. Elena helped plan buying sunflowers, love in every petal. She cleaned the river again, kids cheering earth and hearts mending. Pope Francis's 2020 call. Prayer turns resentment into compassion, guided. Her anger faded, connection grew. A rainy evening. Mrs. Klein knocked soaked a flat tire down the street. Can you help Elena grabbed an umbrella called a tow, waited with her chatting widowhood loss, a shared laugh over burnt cookies. You're kind, Mrs. Klein said. Elena blushed. Trying. Christ's love selfless shone. Pope Francis's 2023 oxygen of forgiveness breathed life. She wrote Mrs. Klein's a sister. Love's messy real. Work flared. A client bailed, stress spiking. Elena paused. Pictured Christ's cross, mercy unending. She rallied Mark Jen, a team fix, and they pulled through. You're steady, Elena Mark said. She smiled, feeling it faith action holding her. Nico called, Got a gig, sis. Joy burst. She cheered, love alive. The shelter buzzed. Lila's daughter arriving, tears and hugs. Elena watching, heart full. On her balcony, rain-pattered city lights blurred. Her notebook sang, Love's a verb, tough, beautiful. I'm not done. Stress lingered work world, but Pope Francis's 2016 line, Forgiveness breaks the cycle of revenge, carried her. She helped a stranger with a stroller called Nico, laughed with Sarah. Ripples rolled her soul, her ties, the world healing. The path stretched, lit by Christ's love. Pope Francis's mercy, a dance of grace, step by step toward wholeness. Elena sat on her couch, the city's pulse seeping through her window at 3:31 p.m. on Sunday, June 1st, 2025. A soft rain tapping the glass, blending with the distant hum of traffic and a neighbor's muffled radio. The air felt thick with July's end, humid and heavy, yet her heart carried a new lightness. Her notebook lay open, pages dense with her journey. Mark's quiet alliance, Dad's warm hugs, Nico's growing trust, Mrs. Klein's shy gratitude, Lila's tearful reunion with her daughter. Forgiveness, she'd learned, was a river flowing through wounds, carving paths to peace. Christ's call to love one another as I have loved you. John 13:34. Thrummed in her, woven with Pope Francis's 2017 wisdom. Love God by loving others, even the hardest ones. The world still pressed stress from work news of division, a lingering ache of disconnection, but she felt ready, poised to stretch further, to heal deeper. Rain streaked the window as Elena sipped tea steam curling upward. Church that morning lingered the priest's words on 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. Love is patient. Love is kind. It bears all things, hopes all things. Pope Francis, in a 2016 homily for Amoris Laetitia, called love a craft built daily through small, brave acts. She thought of the broader world online vitriol protests in the streets, a family she'd seen arguing at the grocery store, voices sharp with hurt. Could her journey touch that? Her notebook beckoned. She wrote, Step 6, love bigger, beyond my circle. Patience, kindness, hope. Work loomed. A new campaign teetering. Client calls, relentless. Stress coiled, but Elena leaned into her rhythm. 5 minutes of silence, eyes closed. The rain, a quiet backdrop. Pope Francis's 2014 line, Silence is the space where God speaks, anchored her. God stretch me. She prayed, a warmth spreading. She texted Sarah, Lunch tomorrow. Need your calm. A reply pinged. You got it. El Community as Gaudete et Exultate 2018 taught lifted her. At the office, she'd face chaos, but love, patient, kind, could guide her. Monday dawned gray. The office a storm of ringing phones and tapping keys. The client, Mr. Hayes, barked through a call. This draft's late. Elena unacceptable. Her pulse spiked. Old instincts. Defend, retreat, surging. But Christ's cross flashed. Father, forgive them. Luke 23:34. A mercy without bounds. Pope Francis's 2023 plea. Forgiveness is oxygen for the soul, steadied her. She breathed. I'm sorry, Mr. Hayes. We'll revise by tonight, I promise. He grumbled, softened. Mark joined her brainstorming, Jen pitching in their team a lifeline. They delivered, and Mr. Hayes emailed better. Thanks. Elena smiled. Love bore all things, even stress. After she met Sarah at a deli, rain pattering outside pastrami's scent rich. You're a pro, El Sarah said, eyes bright. Elena laughed. Trying love, not just skill. It's hard. Sarah nodded, sharing a neighbor's feud. Forgiven, a door opened. Peace found. The APA's truth held forgiveness. Cut anxiety, lifted joy. Elena felt its shoulders easing. jotting patience with Hayes' team. Love works. Pope Francis's Fratelli. Tutti 2020 pulsed all siblings all worthy. Tuesday. The shelter buzzed Lila radiant, her daughter Tara beside her. Sunflowers dotted the table, a gift from Elena. We're talking rebuilding, Lila said, hugging her. Tara, shy, smiled. Thanks for helping Mom. Elena's heart swelled, eyes misting. Pope Francis's 2021 call. Build bridges, not walls, lived here. Love binding wounds spanning years. They sorted soup cans, laughed over Tara's garden dreams, Elena's clumsy planting tales. Laudato Si, 2015, tied at mercy for people, Earth One healing. She joined a park cleanup, rain-soaked picking bottles, kids cheering a ripple growing. Home. Mrs. Klein knocked a rare smile. Got your cookies, made you soup. A bowl steamed warm, a bond blooming. Elena grinned. Love it, thanks. They chatted Klein's lost husband, lonely days, and Elena listened, seeing her pain. Christ's love, patient, kind, shone. Pope Francis's 2016 wisdom. Forgiveness opens the door to reconciliation flowed. She wrote Klein's My Sister. Love bears all. A call to Nico followed. How's the gig? He laughed. Good, sis. You hope endured their tie strong. Midweek news gripped her a city rally. Anger clashing signs of hate. A man, Omar, forgave a looter who'd hit his store, then hired him calming streets. Love, hoped, bore all. Elena felt small, yet called. Could she love there? She prayed, God use me. Picturing Christ's love one another boundless. Online, a post stung a stranger's rant, harsh, personal. Old Elena would have snapped back. Now she typed, I hear you. Hope you're okay. No reply, but peace settled. Pope Francis's 2020 line, prayer turns resentment into compassion, held true. Thursday, stress peaked. A campaign glitch. A server crash. Jen frayed. Elena paused. Silence her refuge, then rallied. We've got this, Jen. They fixed it, laughing by day's end. Mark high-fived. You're glue. Elena. She blushed, feeling Christ's patience, Pope Francis's kindness. She called her dad picnic soon. He chuckled. Bring lasagna. Family wove closer. Love's craft building. The Our Father soothed nightly. Forgive us as we forgive a balm. Friday. Elena walked the park. Rain gone, air fresh. A teen Sam from church struggled with bags, groceries heavy. Need a hand? She asked, taking one. He grinned. Thanks, lady. Love in action. Small real. Pope Francis's 2017 homily. Rang love. Others love God. She texted Nico. Proud of you, and he shot back. Love ya, sis. At the shelter, Lila and Tara cooked, invited her to eat soup stories, laughter. Elena bought seeds for their garden, hope planted. Stress lingered, work news. A friend's cold text. Elena leaned on faith silence prayer. God carry me, she'd whisper, strength rising. A news story moved her a nurse. Priya forgave a violent patient, then trained him as an aide, healing both. Ripples spread. Community mended. Elena saw hers. Klein's soup, Nico's trust, Lila's family, Sam's grin. Fratelli Tutti called all kin. She prayed for that online stranger patience growing. Sunday church glowed the priest on Romans 12:10. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Pope Francis, in a 2019 talk, urged honor through service lifting others. Elena lit a candle, vowing more kindness to all, even the messy. She helped Sam's mom load a car, smiled at a tired clerk, called her mom, "Love you." Ripples rolled. At home, Mrs. Klein waved, "Join me for tea." They sat rain-tapping, sharing life, love binding. Late July, faded stress, real, a budget cut, global strife. But Elena stood firm. Mornings, silence. Nights, prayer. God guide me. She laughed with Sarah, hugged Dad, cheered. Nico's job planted with Lila. A stranger dropped coins. Elena knelt, returned them. A smile shared. Pope Francis's 2023 oxygen of forgiveness breathed her soul, lighter ties, stronger. News showed a town forgiving a flood's ruin, rebuilding together, her path mirrored. On her balcony, rain softened city lights aglow at dusk. Her notebook sang, "Love's patient kind endless." I'm not perfect, but I'm here. Stress ebbed. Connection bloomed Mark. Family Lila strangers. Christ's command. Pope Francis's mercy wove a tapestry. Her heart, the world healing. She helped a soaked biker called Nico, smiled at Klein. The river flowed. Forgiveness. Love, hope, carrying her, mending all a journey, whole step by radiant step.